Finally, a little bit of good news to report on the crooked politician front. Sneaky Karen Cilevitz, Richmond Hill's self-appointed Queen of Ward 5, was recently found guilty of fraud. Yet, despite the conviction, there remains a bitter aftertaste. In fact, the outcome of the Cilevitz fraud case makes me seriously question the justice system as well as the Municipal Act when it comes to crime and punishment. Now, before I address that aspect, allow me to recap Karen's odious shenanigans. Astute viewers might recall that last month, Rebel News aired an exclusive interview with the person Karen Cilevitz had hoodwinked. That would be Patty Burton-Garcia. Patty was hired by Cilevitz to work as a part-time assistant for the councillor beginning in the summer of 2019. Her salary was $25,000, and Patty was paid approximately $900 every 2 weeks. But as soon as Patty received her first paycheck, things took a weird twist. Namely, Cilevitz informed Patty that she and her boyfriend, Derek Christie, would be taking the lion's share of Patty's paycheck. Yeah, typically about $800. Eventually, Cilevitz and Christie dinged Patty for some $21,000. In other words, more than 80% of Patty's actual earnings. Now, the motive for Cilevitz acting like the taxman on steroids was apparently financial desperation. It was around this time period that Cilevitz was in the process of being docked a whopping 315 days' pay. This was due to numerous successful complaints that had been filed against Cilevitz to the City of Richmond Hill's Integrity Commissioner regarding her misbehavior. Now, losing 315 days worth of pay is quite a hefty penalty given that, there's only 365 days in a year, but I digress. In any event, Patty actually agreed to this outrageous clawback of her wages, given that she had a desire to contribute to public service and that she was making ends meet thanks to her existing pension. But things came to an ugly head around tax time the following year. Patty was informed by her accountant that because on paper she was earning that full salary, she owed the Canadian Revenue Agency about $4,000. Patty was stunned, and when Patty told Cilevitz about the impending tax hit, the councillor allegedly responded with 3 words: "Not my problem." Talk about chutzpah. But it later became Karen's problem, all right. Big time, once law enforcement got involved. This was fraud, plain and simple. And not only was Patty being defrauded, so too were the residents of Richmond Hill, given these were tax dollars that Cilevitz was redistributing into her own bank account, that is. Well, this case dragged through the courts for some 18 months, but last week, a verdict was finally handed down. Cilevitz was found guilty of fraud under $5,000, and according to the court, Cilevitz has already allegedly paid back the full restitution to the City of Richmond Hill. Where this cash challenge person got the moolah is anyone's guess, however. But here's the thing, this conviction was the result of a plea deal. The original charge was fraud over $5,000, and Cilevitz was also facing a charge of breach of trust by a public officer. She was caught red-handed. There was evidence galore. So why a plea deal in the first place? And another thing that makes me question the justice system pertaining to this case, and it's the so-called penalty. Most would argue that Cilevitz should be behind bars for what she did, but instead, this fraudster will serve a 3-month conditional sentence, meaning that she is simply required to remain in her residence daily between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. except for emergencies. Wow, that's harsh. And yes, my tongue is firmly inserted in my cheek, folks, because you see, For the last several months, Cilevitz has existed as a house hermit. She hasn't even shown up to numerous council meetings in person, deciding to simply zoom in her contributions, such as they are. So how is it that being confined to quarters between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. is a penalty in the first place when Cilevitz has already volunteered to confine herself to quarters on basically a 24/7 basis? And holy Patrick Brown, Batman, in the aftermath of this humiliating criminal conviction, you would think that Cilevitz would be full of contrition and that she'd be issuing mea culpas all around, but no. Like sneaky Patrick himself, a familiar pattern emerges, namely Karen breaks the rules, Karen gets caught breaking the rules, and then Karen plays the victim card, claiming that for some unfathomable reason, so many people are out to get her as part of some grand conspiracy. It's pathetic. Now, we did reach out to Karen Cilevitz to get her side of the story. We even visited her condominium, but she declined to comment. However, she's all over social media, shedding crocodile tears about her plight while blaming others for her troubles. Her rants are vomit-inducing, quite frankly, given how tone-deaf she is. Indeed, check out this nugget, quote, "Over the past 4.5 years, I have been on the receiving end of ongoing hateful and hate-filled bullying, enduring abusive and malicious treatment, including cyberbullying on Facebook," end quote. Oh, there's been bullying these past 4.5 years, all right, except Cilevitz was not on the receiving end. Rather, when it comes to being a bully, she's the star quarterback. Case in point, you might recall her infamous recorded rant in which Karen went after Richmond Hill resident Steffi Goodfield. At the time, Steffi was a stage 4 cancer patient. And what was Steffi's crime, you might ask? Well, Steffi had the utter gall to use the words Ward 5 to describe a music festival she was organizing in Ward 5. But crazy Karen, she apparently thinks she owns the copyright for the term Ward 5. Check out this 2-minute slice of utter insanity.
Please be advised that nobody but Richmond Hill councillors use the term ward in any event unless you are a councillor. So you can let him listen to this if he doesn't have the balls to call me back. But be advised, Steffi, that if you in any way, or if Matt Bergman in any way calls your Sunday night jam at Archibald's the Ward 5 event, there is going to be serious problems that you are both going to have to deal with legally.
Astonishing. And much like how the good people of Brampton are cursed with Patrick Brown, so too are the folks in Richmond Hill with Karen Cilevitz. You see, under the Municipal Act, she is still allowed to sit on council, and she's allowed to run for re-election in the fall. But how can this be? It was just proven in a court of law that she defrauded the city out of thousands of dollars, and now this fraudster can continue to carry out making financial decisions on the behalf of the city? That's outrageous. And methinks the Municipal Act clearly needs to be revised so that elected fraudsters are kept away from the taxpayer-funded cookie jar. For Rebel News, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies. Hey folks, have you been to the Rebel News store lately? Well, you should. The number one hit of the summer is our Justin Castro t-shirt. That's the one that has half of Justin Trudeau's face and the other half is Fidel Castro's face. You know what the rumors suggest. I got to tell you, the resemblance is uncanny. Say, do you think maybe that's why Justin Trudeau went out and got that Jim Carrey Dumb and Dumber haircut the other day to, downplay the resemblance? Yeah, I think we can take credit for that. In any event, if you want more than one, what a promotion we're running. Type in the promo code SUMMER, that's SUMMER, buy 2 unisex t-shirts, get the third one for free. So come on, strike a fashionable pose this summer and tell Justin Trudeau what you really think about his potential DNA.